Alright guys, time to cry back again today. Hope you are all doing well and enjoying your day so far. And CDL day 3 of the Atlanta home series has concluded. Lots of drama to talk about today. I thought it was just going to be a regular day, a couple of game 5s, a couple of close series. Then we go into this Toronto Ultra Florida Mutineers match, and then there's a replay where it kind of sets the scene for what was to come during the New York Subliners versus Los Angeles Thieves game. And certainly there is a lot to talk about here. And try to hear your perspective in the comment section below. Like if you guys enjoyed the video, subscribe if you are new. As always, I'd greatly appreciate it. It really helps out the channel. Thank you very much indeed for doing that. Let's hop into things then. So first of all, before the day even kicked off, Clay says, look, hope we can show a better performance. Their 3-0 defeat to the Dallas Empire. Well, hopefully they can show a better performance up against Thieves than they did here, as we're going to look at an incredibly close series, but which did not quite go their way. These were our predictions on the day. I predicted Paris to win, Mutineers to win, and LA to take the job down, but well, didn't exactly turn out like that. I think Align did a great job predicting Toronto's victory, as we will look at right in a second here. So before the first game even kicked off and Abel was on the desk, that was certainly pretty cool to see him, of course, predicting Los Angeles Thieves to have a pretty good result here, as they ended up doing, but it was a very close matchup. I mean, honestly, one of the craziest series I've seen in a very long time that's gone in a 3-0 fashion. But before we get to that, first of all, LAG versus Paris Legion, a match that I expected Paris to be stronger in the respawns, but this game 1's definitely set the scene of things to come in this series. LAG win the Crossroads hardpoint 251.99, pretty back and forth, but LAG close out in the end in impressive fashion. And honestly, in this Search and Destroy, as Kismet was kind of saying, a lot of these rounds, it went 6-2 LAG, kind of as expected, right? They seem to be a more cohesive Search and Destroy unit at the present time, and was probably a safer pick, to be fair, in that 3-2 fashion, given that if it did go to game 5, definitely LAG would have been my favourites. I thought Paris would just about make it work in 4, but well, Vivid goes 10-4 this game number 2 here on Miami to get the job done for them. But Paris didn't want to go down without a fight, going down 2-0. Scraps goes 32-18, as you can see right here, brings this one back for the Paris Legion. They also win map 4 as well to take it to a game 5, but I never really felt too confident in that game 5. LAG last season as well, when they won their series, it tended to be in a game 5 fashion if they ever did win a series. This time around, a completely different lineup, but still you've got Bevels over there as the coaching staff, Ricky as well. This squad should be a pretty cohesive Search and Destroy unit, and they do make it work in the game 5 once again. So Fire Shot Bodies has got game BDSA, might as well tweet LAG 3-2 here right now, and that is how it ends up in the end. So Los Angeles Guerrillas, another 3-2 victory, and well, a pretty back and forth series, definitely showing that LAG somewhat better maybe than we predicted them to be in the preseason power rankings, and Paris just need to be able to win Search and Destroys if they want to actually win series, because that's where some of these lower tier squads, the likes of Paris, are sitting, right? If you can't win Search and Destroys consistently against a team like LAG, how are you really going to fare against the best, especially after their 3-0 defeat yesterday to OpTic Chicago? Not exactly looking too ideal. But moving on from that series, we then get the next one, which was casted by Maven and Merc, finally back on their casting duo. What was going on here? Not even really sure. I thought this was a pretty funny tweet. But it's game number 1, Toronto Ultra against the Mutineers. In a similar fashion, I was expecting Mutineers after their opening weekend victory at the Kickoff Classic up against Atlanta FaZe to be pretty damn strong in this series, but it was Ultra that actually came out very strong. And interestingly, of course, that Kickoff Classic, Ultra lost their series 3-2 to the Minnesota Rokkr, but it was Bance in the hardpoints going absolutely off on the main stage. And I was kind of saying after that weekend, like, look, can we really expect Bance to go off consistently? If they want to win series, they're going to need some of their other superstars to step up. That's exactly what happened here. Methods didn't really have to do anything. CleanX goes 36-21, map number 1. He had an absolutely phenomenal series. So yeah, shout out to CleanX, really getting the job done for these guys. Now victory over the Florida Mutineers definitely set the scene for the rest of the series. Going into game 2, there was a couple of funny rounds right here where Neptune gets stuck with a grenade and the actual impact damage takes him down up against Cammy right here. But anyway, the game 2 finishes. Toronto Ultra go up 2-0. They close out. Awakening goes 13-5, but it is just not enough. 6-4 fashion, very impressive clutch factor and some 2 pieces all across the park for the guys over at the Toronto Ultra. They go up 2-0, but in exactly the same fashion really to what happened in that first series, then the Mutineers start to claw their way back. Looked like honestly Toronto were going to close this one out. Goes 3-2 to the Mutineers in the end. And then we get into game 4, right? So this is where things kind of go a little bit haywire. So we weren't really sure exactly what was going on. I'm still not 100% sure because I was listening to the stream on mute. I was doing something else at the time, but I think maybe some scanner repair issues or something. It was pretty early on in this Crossroads hardpoint. I think maybe Mutineers had a slight edge. Someone lags out of the game or some disconnection issue happens or something goes wrong and they decide, Merc's just sitting here, Maven and Merc are just sitting here like, okay, what exactly is going on? And yeah, Maven was just sitting there on the camera camera, pretty confused as to exactly what was happening. But the game does get replayed. They restart it from scratch after a little bit of a technical delay, as Mutineers say, stay tuned. Plenty of that we saw last season, and plenty more of that to come in just a couple of minutes time. So eventually they do restart the map. Ultra go up massive early on, and another great map from CleanX when it mattered as well. Really great team effort across the board, and Mutineers losing this hardpoint that they won against Atlanta FaZe pretty convincingly at that kickoff classic weekends. So really what to say about this? I mean, Mutineers on paper looked pretty solid. I was, touting them really as maybe the best team outside of that big three, but after this series, you've got to really say Ultra looking very good indeed. And I was very impressed with the fact that, as you can see, at those face cams at the bottom there, they're all in the same facility, right? They're all sitting next to each other, they're all hyping each other for the matches, and well, how much of a difference does that make? If you're a team like OpTic Chicago, you're a team like Los Angeles Thieves, you're all in that kind of tournament environment where you're all next to each other in the same facility, fist bumping, all this type of stuff, probably gives you something of an advantage in these matchups, right? So pretty cool to see Ultra doing very well, very happy for the guys that they are able to do so, but a pretty surprising upset result, all things considered, in my opinion. These were the overall series standings. CleanX with a 1.13. The slaying power, especially from Cammy in those last couple of maps, was especially powerful indeed. Then though, we get onto this final series we are going to discuss. This is where things get kind of crazy. So the series kicks off, LA Thieves versus the New York Subliners, Moscow hardpoint game number 1. We get into the game, we're not really sure what's going on. Seems like it's all underway, but Kenny's not moving. They're just team killing. Los Angeles Thieves are team killing. Clearly something's gone wrong. Alright, okay, we end the game. It's time to restart. It's happened before. It'll happen again at some point or another. Not really too much to discuss here. However, that's not the case. Maven and Merc are somewhat confused. They're casting over this game. They're somewhat unclear exactly why it hasn't ended. New York Subliners are just sitting there like, okay, well, we're not going to do anything different. We're just going to sit in the hill and circle all this time. And well, it gets to 100-0, 120-0. Exactly what's going on here? The New York Subliners are just sitting in the hill collecting all the time. Los Angeles Thieves are still team killing each other. Are they not talking to a referee? Is the referee not saying, okay, look lads, we're just going to end it. We'll get this restarted. No problem at all. And Merc's saying he's maybe, or I think it was Maven who's saying maybe getting some communication in his ear, telling him, look, this is an official map. This is going to go ahead, because the issue that Los Angeles Thieves say is an issue is actually, cannot be restarted for, given the rule book that we supposedly have in this game that governs all these type of things with, as we talked about last season, no room for individual coach or, I suppose referee discretion. Let's just put it from that perspective. So it looks like we're going to get the first ever 0-point club. Eventually, it does get stopped. 140-0, the New York Subliners win, host ended game. Then we go to a break, we get some discussion. Maven's like, okay, we're having discussions with League Ops. I'm like, come on guys, we cannot be doing this again, right? We had this last season, people would lag out of the game. There was all the discussion on whether it should be replayed, whether it shouldn't be, and if you go by the rulebook, you'll get ridiculous decisions like this. There were so many, discussions exactly what's gone wrong, what happened with the Los Angeles Thieves, why are they not getting the replay, are they getting the replay, what's going on here? This is such bad PR once again for the league if they decide not to replay this. Eventually, they did come to their senses, as Attach says, whatever, we are going again on this issue. So Jetski tries to come out with an explanation here. Kenny's game auto-switched apparently to keyboard and mouse. The referee said play or forfeit map 1. So I suppose the decision, at least from this perspective, was that it auto switched to keyboard and mouse. Therefore, you can either play and cheat effectively by using keyboard and mouse if Kenny was just going to plug them in or whatever and use that for the game. If he can't use controller because his game auto switched, therefore he actually just can't use his controller because of some issue, or you just forfeit map 1. And Kenny was like, okay, this is ridiculous. Let's just do whatever. And supposedly the referees were going to forfeit them before all of the outcry, understandably, on Twitter and elsewhere, being like, what are you lads playing at once again? Jacob does come out with an additional explanation that we'll look at in a second. As Crone says, if true, this is the clip from Call of Duty Black Ops 4, TWO London 2019, you guys might remember. Yes, I thought it was funny as well, the keys to victory before the game said, put pressure on LA Thieves, steal a respawn. They absolutely did steal the respawn, as Arcitys says, but eventually it does get overturned. Accuracy tweets this out as well. Then Jacob says, look, guys, it's a replay over at the coach, of course, over at Los Angeles Thieves. Kenny wasn't locked onto keyboard and mouse as Jetski interpreted it as. Austin's game was bugged and had to be restarted for whatever reason. So it seemed like for a time there was going to be no replay going on, but eventually it did get done, and the CDL seemed to come to their common sense, and this map number 1 and this series on the whole was an absolute cracker. It was great. We did get to see the replay. Really, just a final couple of comments on this. I'm intrigued to hear your thoughts in the comment section below, of course. But the comment from me really is that, look, if you were to ask Los Angeles Thieves, or if you were to ask New York Subliners, what they think about this situation, would they say, yeah, let's just take the map win 140-0, let's just crack on, that's our map win, 1-0, guys, let's go? Of course not, right? They're going to be like, look, we want a fair game. If it was us in that position, we certainly wouldn't just be claiming the victory for whatever whatever reason. So there really needs to be some discretion. Thankfully, they came to their senses on this issue, but something which is a little bit less obvious maybe in the future is maybe going to be governed once again by this mysterious rulebook. Whereas in reality, if you were to ask the other team, look, do you want to take the win? Do you want to replay it? 99% of the time, they're going to say, look, we just want to replay it and have a fair matchup, because if it was us in that position, we would certainly want to do that. But anyway, Kenny goes massive map 1. This game was so close. It looked like New York should have won it, honestly. They had the perfect rotation many a time, and well, honestly, choked it, to be honest, towards the end. Kenny Slasher especially went absolutely massive to close out this game, 250 to 241. Search and Destroy was again a very similar story, as you can see here. New York leading pretty much the entire way, but the Los Angeles Thieves get it done in the end. Going into the Search and Destroy, a pretty similar story. New York subliners have a pretty significant advantage. Kenny clutches a 1v3 right here as well, which was pretty spectacular to take the game to 1-1. Then it went to 2-1, but then subliners brought their way back into the game. Goes all the way to a 4-2 advantage for the subliners after a pretty nice 1v2 from DiamondCon. Then it all falls apart. I think subliners also won like a 2 versus 4 in that situation, but then Los Angeles Thieves bring it back slowly but surely. They go down 3-5, they bring it back to 5-5, and then like game 5, or I suppose the round 11, game 2, round 11 in this one, aBeZy for some reason just flies out of top purple. Not really sure why he did that. Dies in that round, goes down to a 2 versus 4, then Clayster gets a nice 2-piece, goes to a 2v2, very intense round 11, but eventually it does go in the favor of Los Angeles Thieves. Doesn't get too much closer than that, but Kenny from that like end of the third rotation relief to win that final hardpoint through the entire Search and Destroy was absolutely spectacular. 3,000 plus damage he got in this search, 16 pure kills. Haven't really seen numbers like that too much so far this title. Very impressive from him. And then the final game as well, Los Angeles Thieves closing out. Once again, another map really where subliners could have won. This came down to the wire. TJ had a phenomenal final round and a phenomenal final map really to get them over the line in the end. So 3-2 in the control, 6-5 in the search, 250 to 241 or something in the hardpoint. Doesn't get too much better than that in a series, and Thieves win a series 3-0. Could have been very different, of course, as Clayster says, just got to close out our games. Lost 3-0 to Los Angeles Thieves. GG's, fair play to them, and Clayster's team yet to win a map so far this season, including, of course, the Kickoff Classic. Lots to discuss today. I'm sure we can go into more detail tomorrow on some of these issues. Intrigued to hear your thoughts in the comment section, but I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy it, I'd greatly appreciate a like on the video. It really helps out the YouTube algorithm to know you enjoyed this content. Other people like you may enjoy this content as well, and upgrade the competitive Call of Duty community. Thank you for watching as always, take care, and I will see you next time.